Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is the pastime of Lord Rishabhadev's winding up his pastimes is happening. So just we will read now after the mind ka section that got finished. So then after that we have two shlokas before this. So we will read the translation of them. Lord Rishabhadev was head of all kings and emperors within this universe, but assuming the dress and language of an avaduta, he acted as if dull and materially bound. Consequently, no one could observe his divine opulence. He adopted this behavior just to teach yogis how to give up the body. Nonetheless, he maintained his original position as the plenary expansion of Lord Vasudev, Krishna. Remaining always in that state, he gave up his pastimes as Lord Rishabhadev within the material world. If, following in the footsteps of Lord Rishabhadev, one can give up his subtle body, there is no chance that one will accept a material body again. Actually, Lord Rishabhadev had no material body, but due to Yoga Maya, he considered his body material. And therefore, because he played like an ordinary human being, he gave up the mentality of identifying with it. Following this principle, he began to wander all over the world. While traveling, he came to the province of Karnataka. So that's our place in South India, and passed through Konka, Venka, and Kutaka. He had no place to travel in this. He had no place planned to travel in this way, but he arrived at Kotakachala and entered a forest there. He placed stones within his mouth and began to wander through the forest, naked and with his hair disheveled like a madman. So then, after that, today's shloka, like how he was burnt in the forest fire. So now we see that this whole execution of this pastime is for a particular section of people. Not every class and every lesson is meant for every person in the school. So every class is meant for a particular person who's there. So here we see that this particular lesson is to teach the yogis how to actually give up this body. And now we can see this even for the bhakti yogis. This is quite important lesson. So we see in all the different yoga systems, so whatever the milestones that are crossed, we also have to cross those milestones in the bhakti yoga system. It is like detaching oneself from the gross body and detaching oneself from the subtle body, and then finally being absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. So what happens in bhakti yoga is, so we directly get all our training is not on how to detach ourselves from the body and gross body and subtle body, but the training mostly and primarily based on how to engage our senses and mind in the service of the Lord. Right? Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo, and then remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, accepting the prasad of the Lord, hearing the glories of the Lord. So then what happens is, the senses are actively engaged in the service of the Lord, and mind is actively engaged in the service of the Lord. So in that way, it becomes a concomitant, or it becomes a byproduct. The detachment from the gross body and subtle body becomes a byproduct. So in this connection, I was just reading one section from that Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani book. So there, Maharaj actually writes this one wonderful point that jnanam cha yadahaitukam. So like Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. So like when we use our senses in the service of the Lord, so the knowledge actually arises. And I have never given so much important for this word ahaituka or ahaituki, like whatever is mentioned there. So like Maharaj even proper translates as costless. So a costless knowledge that arises. It is not a knowledge that is of the material world. It's knowledge of which drives a person towards impersonal liberation. But it is a knowledge that actually gives active detachment from the senses, and also it attaches us to Krishna. So that kind of a knowledge that actually arises, and this knowledge generally, like whenever we hear this word knowledge, so it is associated with another friend of his. What is it? Yeah. So jnana and vairagya. So it's always in combination. So knowledge arises means the detachment also arises. So there is no question of no, somebody is like very knowledgeable, but he is not detached. No, that's not possible. So no, if he is not detached, then this one is opposite of that is what? So sufficient knowledge, he has not gained sufficient knowledge. He has not gained sufficient practical realizations in the process of Krishna consciousness or in the process of any yoga system. So the advancement is primarily seen based on jnana and vairagya. So jnana means how much we are attached to Krishna, and vairagya means how much we are detached to the material things. So sometimes this may appear like we may have some sentimental attachment to Krishna. So, but then how to understand really I am attached to Krishna? So this one is like what is it? The principle that has to be checked is how much of detachment I have got. And sometimes people are quite detached. No, then can we say like they are very advanced? No. So how much he is attached to Krishna? So both of these things together, so makes this one. So and we see that in all the yoga systems, so this principle is there. So the knowledge component varies in different yoga systems. Like it may be the impersonal Brahman, it may be the Paramatma, or it may be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the knowledge component varies, but detachment is a common thing, that every yoga system actually brings about. So in that way, we can see that here, Rishabhadev is actually demonstrating how a yogi should actually give up his body and completely oblivious of his external self, and then fully be immersed in the thoughts of the Lord, and fully be immersed in the active principle, to whom he is trying to render service. So in Bhakti Yoga, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So, like we see in this one example that Prithu Maharaj's pastime when it was going on. So that example that came for detachment from the gross body and subtle body. Anybody remember that example? Coconut. So like coconut, how we call it as the kopara, the dry coconut. So the dry coconut, though it is within the shell, slowly it's it has become detached from the shell, and it is like inside it is like it is a different entity inside, so it doesn't have any attachment to the shell. So that is the nice this one. And like I was just remembering, like Prabhu was or Karthika was sharing about his request for prayer in One Vihari Mandir. So that is like want to perfect this life, perfect the life in this very lifetime. So, like, are you ready to face all the problems? No. So the thing is that we are so much attached. It's like even if we go to a doctor, and then if they put a plaster, like if you are got some injury or something like that, if they put a plaster, and if when they remove the plaster, so much of pain happens. So one small plaster to remove that is in the external body, so much of pain happens. So many things has been deeply attached within the heart. So when all those things Krishna starts plucking out, then how much more pain will be there. And mostly like people take many lifetimes, because when Krishna operates one thing out, so then we say like, no, itna kafi hai is lifetime ka. Abhi agli lifetime mein dekh lenge. I cannot tolerate more. So then a person who says, no, how much ever painful it is, no, I want to attain your lotus feet. No, let all the operation happen now, and I just simply want to serve you, my Lord. So that is the mood actually. Even Krishna also feels like operating. Otherwise, like Krishna say, okay, fine, like thoda rest le lo. Generally, like we did cataract operation for my father, and now for my mother also they're going to do. So even if the patient is ready, so the doctor will say like at least 15 days gap should be there, like, or 1 week gap should be there between 2 operations and things like that. So like that, doctor भी थोड़ा time दे देता है कि अब इतना काफी है, इससे ज़्यादा झेल नहीं पाओगे. So that way, so the intensity of practice and determination to attain the lotus feet of the Lord as one pointed focus. So this is quite very important. And when the Lord sees that no, he will not waver no, in the process of Krishna consciousness, that is when the Lord will start working upon the living entity. Right? So that is the basis is the the determination that a sadhaka is actually showing, right? So it's quite very difficult to understand and to accept that no, I have a particular anartha and the Lord is trying to remove that, and it's quite very difficult. And after all the operation, we'll be thankful to the Lord. It'll feel nice. So we'll feel better. But then the whole acceptance that I have this problem, and the whole acceptance that I have to be operated and corrected. So that's a quite a difficult task. And then the whole operation itself is quite painful. So now here we see in this today's shloka, so he was wandering about, and then there is a wild forest fire that occurred, and due to the friction of the bamboos and things like that. So whenever we hear about this friction of bamboos and then forest fire, so any pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam comes to your memory, which was similar kind of this one analogy is used. Suruchi enters fire. Okay, so specifically this is example of friction of bamboos. So the annihilation of some dynasty. Either dynasty. So that time also like this one comes. So that somebody was speaking something against somebody, and then so two people got angry and they started fighting, and then many other people joined in, like everybody, there was a huge massacre that actually happened over there. So there also I think this example is used. Another example that is used there is the bigger fish swallows a smaller fish, and smaller fish swallows even more smaller fish in that way, so this whole thing actually gets destroyed. The whole dynasty gets destroyed. So in this one aspect, we all are trying to preach the message of Krishna consciousness and trying to build the community of devotees, and the greatest problem that can possibly happen is this friction. So when the friction happens, so then it slowly starts, and then it has the capacity to consume everything actually. So that's why we should be very careful about when the friction happens, how to handle that and how to actually nullify that and things like that. And also genuinely, what is the basis of friction? The basis of friction is material modes of nature. And what is the basis of solution? The solution is Krishna consciousness. So how to increase the Krishna consciousness overall? So left to themselves, people, they will not be able to come out of their modes of nature. There'll be conditioning will be there, and it may take lifetime or even many lifetimes to remove that conditioning. But then there is a artificial, or not, I would not say artificial, it's a temporary hype in the consciousness when they are in association of nice devotees who are practicing very intensely and who are trying to become more and more deeper in Krishna consciousness. So in that association, somehow or other, the Krishna consciousness becomes the prominent this one, and it can neutralize all the issues that are there. So this is the only solution that we have, that to intensify the Krishna consciousness oneself, and to actually purely share Krishna consciousness to people around. So in that way, we can actually try to keep the friction away. So we can see that when Srila Prabhupada was physically present, and he was when he was physically trying to give the association, so there was many problems were there, but then all of it could be handled, and all of it could be consumed. So but then every organization goes through this this whole phase. So when the powerful personality actually appears, so even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, everything was thriving. So then after his period, there is this one downtrend that comes, and whenever a powerful acharya comes or an incarnation of the Lord comes, so then everything goes to the peak, and then it has a downtrend also, right? So it is because of that that level of intensity of no Krishna consciousness, what is there. No, it is quite difficult to maintain. No, so and then when it comes down, so the level of activities no cannot sustain no in the same way actually. So but then the system automatically stabilizes over a period of time. So that is no we see in no many instances, no many civilizations we see, and it is the same for every organization. So this whole thing will happen. So yesterday we were discussing on that point also. So myself and Achitu, like one of my friend is changing ashram, one of his friend, no, probably I don't know. So some signs we are able to see that we were so concerned and discussing about that particular aspect. So this is this many times this thing happens up and down and up and down, so the whole system may go through this. So we were just sharing one realization that one thing which I heard in one of the class. So when the varnashram to set up, or any civilization or any culture to take its roots, no, it generally takes 200-300 or 400 years. No, it takes so much of time for it to actually settle down and become solidly situated and things like that. So in that way, like during that time, so it is going to be like things are going to be kacha, and things are going to be like little difficult to handle. So but then one thing that we can all try to do is that intensify our Krishna consciousness and try to share the same kind of intensity to people around. So that is the way to actually handle the situation and um, uh, try to actually do something valuable contribution to the whole environment that is there. So in any situation, in the better situation or in the worst situation, this is the solution that somehow or other we have to become intensely Krishna conscious, right? So there are many other practical aspects that need to be done, so that the senior people and the people who are equipped with they may be able to do it. So but then as an Aam Aadmi in the whole system, so if everybody tries to intensify their Krishna consciousness and then try to share Krishna consciousness with others, so that can kind of bring in a lot of stability. And here also it is talked about this Davanal. So when we talk about Davanal, like what is the most this one what is it? What comes to our mind as the first this one? Mercy Spiritual Master and Samsara. So the same thing, like what he was mentioning. So it is like this material world is it's like this forest fire. So and when it is explained, nobody tries to come, nobody comes to this material world to set up some problem. But problem occurs. So that is how this material world is, because only one thing is sufficient for the problem to occur. So all the living entities in the material world are have become Krishna Bahirmukh, and they have accepted the shelter of the external energy of the Lord. That much is sufficient. It has to be problematic. And Krishna says that Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. So why this place is called, why he is labeling this place as Dukkhalayam? Why cannot people be happy here? Maybe there are some intelligent people, there are nice people who can be happy here. Why he is telling Dukkhalayam? So one devotee was telling that, if it doesn't require too much of intelligence. If you put a pack of dogs in a room, so what will happen? The situation, anybody can explain that. In the same way, like if you put people who are turned their faces away from Krishna and who has taken the shelter of the material modes of nature, right? So if you put all of them in one one planet, so what can happen? That's anybody can expect. Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. So it is that was a very nice point actually. Now this forest fire happens because of the friction, and friction is because different people have different modes of nature, and it cannot go well at any point in time. So and then how to solve this friction is by accepting the mercy of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is raining down his mercy. And where is the source of this mercy? The source of mercy is Gunarnava. So that is the ocean of the ocean of all the mercy, or ocean of all the good qualities. So that is the Supreme Lord himself. And from this ocean, the spiritual master is actually receiving this one stock of mercy, and then he distributing. So that means Krishna is the one point source of all the mercy. There is no other source of mercy. So but then the source is not always the best distributor. So the best distributors are like the company who is producing. They may not be engaged in distributing. So there are other distributors who are distributing, right? So in the same way, like here also, we see that Krishna is the source of all mercy. Any mercy that comes to us, like that is effectively like Krishna's mercy. So, but then who is the person who is very, very merciful and who actually distributes this mercy of Krishna? So that is the devotee of Krishna, right? So he is the one, like who actually distributes this mercy. So that's why every day morning, like we pray to the spiritual master, pray to Srila Prabhupada. Specifically when we sing our morning bhajan, so that is towards Srila Prabhupada. So we may remember our spiritual master as well. So but then this specific, this one is towards gratitude towards Srila Prabhupada. So, and like when we meditate upon this, how by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are able to get this opportunity to engage ourselves in Krishna's service, opportunity to remember Krishna, opportunity to like preach the message of Krishna consciousness. So all these things are very great mercy upon us. Now, what is a mercy? Like, mercy means something I'm in need. I am very badly in need of it, and I cannot get it. So but somebody out of his costless mercy has given us. So what is that we are not having? So we are servant of Krishna, but we are not having this idea that we are servant of Krishna. And even if we get the idea of servant of Krishna, like where will I get the bona fide service? So the bona fide service is distributed by the spiritual master. He gets confidentially, like the service gets like delegated to Srimati Radharani and Balram. And from there, the whole distribution actually happens. And we require the touch of Guru Parampara to get a bona fide service. Otherwise, if Prabhupada were not there, if no acharyas were there, then how will we get any bona fide service? First of all, we will not get authorized commentary. And then there is no question of book distribution also. And there is no question of preaching. So like what is what is the basis? The service has to be delegated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And mercifully the Lord delegates through his devotees, and by the mercy of the spiritual master, the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So we are getting a practical opportunity to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So that's the greatest mercy of the Lord. And this is one way of analyzing the mercy. Another way is like always we remember the shloka. What is that? Eva anukampartam. Tesham eva anukampartam. Aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnanadipena bhashvato. So like remembrance of the Lord and destruction of our material sense gratificatory thoughts, and then remembrance of the Lord. This is also a very great mercy of the Lord. So like this, many other aspects of the mercy of the Lord can be analyzed from the scriptures. So we just like try to highlight on two aspects. One is the service, another is the remembrance. Opportunity to be engaged in the service of the Lord and to be able to remember the Lord. This is a great mercy of the Lord upon us. And here another aspect that is mentioned here is about the aspect of the Lord's body being eternal and the Lord's body being not material, and it doesn't get destroyed as any ordinary living entity whose body gets destroyed. So Rishabhadev's body is completely spiritual and it doesn't get destroyed. So it's like one of those purports where we see that the shloka says the body of Lord Rishabhadev were burnt to ashes, and the purport in the Prabhupada says like no, it is not burnt. So this is like nice this one. So in another aspect, like where in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where chanting the names of the Lord is sufficient and the deity worship is not necessary, or something like that. One shloka is there, and Prabhupada gives pages and pages and pages of purport how deity worship is important. So like that. So it is the acharyas, they understand the mood of Krishna. And it is not that they are going against the scriptures. That is like one of the primary thing that we actually talk about. The first pramana is the scriptures are the ultimate authority, and nobody can actually go against the scriptures. So it is not this one. There is not a point that where the acharya is trying to go against the scriptures. That can never happen. So it is not at all possible, right? So yesterday, like this one. I was having a little bit of stomach ache and no migraine, and devotees thought I'm doing yoga. and, and so Karthika Boo came in and told it is not possible. Like Mangalarti ke time pe kaun yoga karenge? So it's like something like that. So Acharya can never go against the scriptures. It is not possible, right? So that. This is like no, the other aspect. What is no, Srila Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita, and then he's citing that this is the way to understand this particular no section of Bhagavatam, right? So this is why, like no, as what is that neophyte reader of Srimad Bhagavatam, we cannot understand what the scripture is talking about, but then we should see through the eyes of the acharyas. So one time I asked about this particular question to Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu, that Vacha Veham Manasakrodha Veham, this one is there. So like I asked a particular question, I'm not able to remember that question now, but the answer is quite vivid and evident, like very nice answer Prabhuji actually gave. So he told that you're trying to hover on the shloka and the translation, but then know how the Vacha Vegam has to happen. So Prabhupada has explained in the purport. So you should try to understand it only in that way. Right, so that was a very nice this one, when we were having prasadam, so that time only we were having this discussion. So that was a quite nice this one. So otherwise I used to a lot like the shlokas and translation, a lot. So and then we read the purport, but then the purport we forget many times. So but then when I was having the discussion, so it was quite nice that we should actually focus on how to implement that particular shloka the acharya has given in the purport, and we should try to implement in that way. So then it will work. Otherwise, if we try to, there are so many other permutation and combinations may come, based on that shloka and translation, but then it cannot, help us a great way. So the acharya has given the explanation, so that has to be followed. So in the same way, here also we can see how to actually understand that the Lord was the Lord's body was burnt to ashes. So it is in conflict. The Lord's body is Sachidananda Vigraha, and it cannot actually be burnt just like an ordinary living entity. And if it the shloka says like this, so then the acharya gives the understanding like this has to be understood in this way. So the body of the Lord doesn't get burned, and at the same time, because he is the super soul of all the living entities who are present in the forest, and everybody got burnt in that forest fire, so everybody got liberated also from the bodily engagement. So that is also a very nice point that we can actually see here. So adahyo him, so Prabhupada actually quoting from Bhagavad Gita. So here this one is dadaha, so that is getting burnt, and adahyoyam, so that is like dadaha, something like that. So it is like not burnt. So the soul can never be burnt. That's a basic foundational principle from Bhagavad Gita. So with that, Srila Prabhupada establishes that the Lord's body is transcendental and it is not burnt, right? And then rather all the living entities present in the forest, so they got when they got burnt, they became liberated from the material bodily engagement. So with this, I pause today's discussion. I also want to just tell one glory of Jayananda Prabhu, so which is in relation to my spiritual master. Like first time when Guru Maharaj actually went to the ISKCON temple. So then there, he was there like building the Ratha cart. And then Guru Maharaj always remember this one. So he asked me like, do you know how to nail? And then so I was like, I can try. And then so then he only kept the nail and he only drove the nail into this one. And then he told, oh, you did a very nice service. So it was like, I felt so nice. So Guru Maharaj says like, I felt so nice, like, it's very nice devotee, like that. And then we hear of, then this one, whenever Prabhupada goes to some place, everybody actually wants to see Prabhupada, and then they are actually crowding over Prabhupada. And then many times Jayananda Prabhu will not be there in the scene, so he'll be doing some service, and then Prabhupada is to call for him, I want to meet him, like that. So this is also many times Prabhupada quotes this one. So don't try to see the Lord or see the spiritual master. Like we can extend, to that this one. So try to render service in such a way that the spiritual master or the Lord wants to see. So that is the nice this one. So like ultimately they are very happy when the devotee actually develops nice devotional qualities and actively engaged in the service of the Lord. So then this happens, like then immediately like the spiritual master becomes very pleased. So these two things I could able to just recollect. So in the reflections, like if devotees also can share some this ones you remember about Jayananda Prabhu, so that will also be nice. So before that, if there is any questions, we take, and then first questions, then after that we can. Any questions?
So Rishabdev Maharaj, so he's a Shaktyavesh avatar of the Lord. That's what.
Yeah.
Shaktyavesh avatar, the bodies are
So this shloka, the previous shloka we see, actually Lord Rishabdev had no material body, but due to Yoga Maya, he considered his body material. So this is one statement is there. Shaktivesh Avatar may or may not, I don't know, like this particular reference. When I was trying to study this shloka, so I was thinking in that way. So but when the previous shloka, when I read, so that time I saw that there is no material body like that it is mentioned. So not sure very much like how does.
The teaching of Rishabdev, he says that I have a tongue.
In 2-3 instances, he actually mentions. Then Shukadeva Goswami himself also mentions this. So I'm not very sure. Going with the this one shlokas, so nowhere it is mentioned as he had a material body. So any other question? Yes.
लॉर्ड विष्णु की बॉडी बर्न टू एशेस, लेकिन प्रभुपाद उसमें बोलते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं हुआ। प्रभुपाद कैसे एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं, तो शास्त्र पे विरुद्ध नहीं हो, उसको ठीक से नहीं समझ।
So, like now here Prabhupada is explaining that Lord don't have a material body, so it cannot be burnt. And he citing the example from or reference from Bhagavad Gita that spirit soul can never be burnt, right? So like that. That's how he's establishing. So when such things come, we cannot give purport because we are not acharya. So if some acharya has given purport, then we should take it. If no, everybody has accepted it, then we also accept it. Like that. Okay. Our job is quite simple, no? Just that whatever the previous acharyas have told, like we just accept. Okay. So devotees can share their reflections and also some instance of Jayananda Prabhu if you can remember. That you can share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for this nice class. It's very nice that senior devotees have so many angles to give. I was wondering what you will speak in this purport. It's very nice to hear. So 3 points that you mentioned, which is very important for a sadhaka: intensity of devotional service, determination to practice devotional service and attain Krishna, and one-pointed focus to attain Krishna. So these 3 are very important for a sadhaka to continue practicing bhakti, as you mentioned. Jayanand Prabhu's one glory which I had heard was he made everyone as his friends. So even when he would go for shopping, the vegetable seller and fruit seller, fruit vendor, vegetable vendor, they all became his friends. And he never showed that he is a temple president. He was a temple president, but then he would do everything possible. So all the menial services possible, and he would accommodate everyone. So that accommodative nature that was there. That's why he was very, very dear to everyone. I don't know if it was Jayanand Prabhu when he left his body. So all these people, were mourning and yeah,
Like even the karmis around, so even they cried.
they cried. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the wonderful class. Some points which I have taken is in Bhakti Yoga, more focus has to be given on attaching ourselves to Krishna than on practicing detachment. When the Lord sees determination in the lives of the sadhaka gets more experience of Krishna by the mercy of the Lord. You were also talking about the Varnashram aspect and the phase of various organizations. So, what I learned from that statement was that good things take time. Just like Prabhupada says, dry fruits, they take time. We have to wait for the dry fruits to come. So, similarly, good things take time. We have to be very patient and doing what the Acharya has told with full faith. And whenever there is some trouble in Krishna consciousness due to various factors which are not in our control because of we being Krishna Bahirmukh, the only solution is to intensify our practice of Krishna consciousness and Krishna will take care. These are my takeaways. Jayanant, I very happy that today is Jayanant Thakur's appearance or disappearance day. And many memories I have, but one of my most favorite memories is devotees remember him that at that time in the movement, almost everybody was very young and probably coming from the hippie background. He was the only sane person. He was like 30 plus when he came to Krishna consciousness. And even if in his previous life, before coming to Krishna consciousness, he was very saintly. He was very highly qualified, a mechanical engineer from a very prestigious university. But after completing his mechanical engineering, he did not like the materialistic environment where people were working. So by his own will, he became a taxi driver to keep his life simple. And then when he read the science of self-realization and met Srila Prabhupada, he surrendered. At that point of time, whatever money he had made as a taxi driver, he gave away. And using that, the book Nectar of Devotion was printed. His name is there in the preface, Sriman Jayanand. So, and he did many services for Srila Prabhupada, like you said, and he always used to connect with Srila Prabhupada via his service, and Srila Prabhupada would always take note of it. Srila Prabhupada was very pleased always in his association. Any photo of Jayanant Thakur you see along with Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is very pleased, very smiling all the time. One nice memory is that devotees used to like the way he used to do japa. He used to be very focused. He used to sit straight and then audible chanting, and he used to just sit once and get up once. That's all. That's how he used to chant. And this is after working the whole day. No sign of tiredness. Jayanant Thakur was the only person, Prabhupada used to scold everybody in class when they used to sleep. But to Jayanant Prabhu, he used to say, let him sleep. That is his Yog Nidra, not ordinary sleep. And devotees often told Jayanant Thakur to give a class. He never would give a class. Only one class I think he has given. But when we hear that class, we realize how much he has absorbed the teachings of Srila. Yeah, the text is there. The audio is not there. So how much he has absorbed. Any devotee who would have a conversation with him related to the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, they would be so much amazed that although he is making the Ratha cart and although he is going grocery purchasing, but he always had a Bhagavad Gita or a Bhagavatam with him, and he kept reading it and with so much intensity, so much depth and so much absorption. And while he went out for his services, he used to influence everybody, like Prabhu was saying, to become devotees. Sometimes when book distribution would happen, people wouldn't take. But then book distributors would say that this is Jayananda's favorite book. Then people would say, oh, if Jayanand is reading, then I'll also read. Give it to me. So just because Jayanand is doing something, everybody would do. And
But they would say Jayanand or they would say the nickname?
Jay. Something like
Some
that.
nickname is there, no? Jolly Anand.
Jolly Anand.
People will know him as Jolly.
This I don't know. Maybe like that.
I read somewhere.
So they would say that if Jayanand is doing this, I will also do this. Jayanand is buying this, I will also buy this. And one great thing which he would do is he was chiefly involved in making the Ratha cart. Nobody ever brought any Lakshmi for making the Ratha cart. Nobody ever gave any donation for Ratha cart. Any city, any town, new, old, even if he goes for the first time, his influence was so great that in 2-3 days he would go around the town and collect everything which is needed for making the Ratha cart free of cost. And he'll make a great Ratha for Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada would be always pleased. Even during his final days, even during the final days when he was struggling with cancer, he would keep the photo of Srila Prabhupada on the bed and himself sleep down, thinking that, I don't deserve all this. And even in those stages, he was completely in consciousness of how this Ratha will be built. Once he ran away from the hospital where he was in ICU just to assist the Ratha cart, people had to bring him back. And then while hearing Kirtan, he left his body. And Prabhupada said that his disappearance should be celebrated like any other Acharya in the Parampara. So, great personality. Once after his passing away, when Srila Prabhupada saw him, not even before he passed away, when Srila Prabhupada saw him in one of the photos pulling the Ratha cart for the first Rath Yatra, Srila Prabhupada was in tears. He mentioned that Krishna has sent Jayananda for me. So that is the stature of Jayananda Prabhu. All glories to Jayananda Thakur.
HariKshetra Prabhuji. Thank you for the very nice class. The point which I was taking is about the two aspects which we get when we do perform devotional service, that is knowledge and detachment. So, and you nicely mentioned about how we can check a person who is very deep into Krishna consciousness. That is, one is like, okay, he is detached from the material things, but whether he is attached to Krishna or not, so that is has to be checked. So that is very nice point. So the most important thing is, like, we try to get more knowledge about the Lord, then automatically the material things will be detached from that. So there'll be nowhere like both things will be there, like, attachment to the Lord and even attachment to the material things, means then we are not properly understood the Krishna consciousness. That was a very nice point. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the nice class. So I was just meditating on this point, the definition of mercy which you give. So when we don't have any something which we did very very badly, and then we're calling out for the Lord, when He showers that thing to us, that is called mercy. Until unless I have this feeling that I need, I'm lacking something, oh Krishna I need, until unless I have that intense mood, so I cannot understand what is mercy. So I have to understand what is lacking in me, what is devotion, intensity, whatever, and I have to cry for Krishna. So then I can understand what is a mercy and can be grateful after that. Yes, Krishna has given me this. Remembrance of the Lord and service to the Lord. So this is the point I'm meditating. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I don't know much. What?
So his call is today. And if you can share that, the one and only lecture of Jagan, be happy to read that. And we should try to take some time to read, try to read about it. It's very, very inspiring.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanatvanam. So point is that you said Savai Pumsha Paro Dharma, that sloka comes by devotional service to the Vasudeva. By doing devotional service to the Vasudeva, Prabhuji, that Gnana and Vairagya comes, detachment from this material world and real knowledge, the knowledge of this material world, and समय पुंसो परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिर अदक्षज अहैतुकी अप्रति अत यत्मा सुप्रसिद्धते वासुदेवी भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजिता जनते आसु वैरगं ज्ञानम तद अहैतुकम, like that goes. So this, by doing devotional service to the Krishna, so Gnana and Vairagya comes. And so we should this is the only this is the only devotion means only the Vasudeva Krishna. So this is only paradharma, the actually real dharma of the soul. And by if we really doing devotional service nicely, then the gnana and vairagya, the both are comes. And and the intensifying of practice and determination, we should do the intensifying the devotional service, and we should determine in this path. This one point, Prabhuji. And always we are always servants of Krishna, so we should always remember that, and we should render service to the Guru and Krishna. Then by the mercy of Guru we can understand, we can serve Krishna nicely, and we can serve Guru nicely. Then we can, by Krishna mercy also comes, and by Guru mercy Krishna we can approach. And neophyte should see throughout the acharyas, like we should we can, if we try to read shastras, if our own, we can speculate something like that. But if we try to read through the guru, through the acharyas bona fide, then we can nicely understand what is and what is what. This point I wanted to make our project. And on Jayanand Prabhuji, so Jayanand Prabhuji, I had one of the His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj classes also, and some of here and there, and I seen and heard about Jayanand Prabhuji. So once Prabhupada sitting in the room, and Jayanand Prabhu, all the Prabhupada disciples are sitting, and Jayanand Prabhu comes once in the room, and Prabhupada says that, see, is Goswami is come here. So see, Goswami is coming. He say Goswami. So later Prabhupada like that saying, because whenever he, whatever Jayanand Prabhu had gaining the money outside working, all the money giving to the Prabhupada, Jayanand Prabhu, and whatever, and that is not just it, working in outside, that also giving money. After that he have the time also, after the working hours finished, then also he going outside, there also he earning day and night working, and they giving to the money, all money to the Prabhupada. This is what Prabhupada says. This is a Goswami. And one pastime is that when also Prabhuji mentions that when Prabhuji's deceased condition, there from their money also sent from the उनकी घर पे भी पैसे भेजते थे जनरल प्रभु जी को, तो वो पैसा भी सब कुछ मेडिसिन को भी पैसे भेजते थे, वो सब मेडिसिन को भी नहीं लेते, सब कुछ पैसा प्रभात को देते थे जैन प्रभु जी. और जो भी अभी प्रभु जी बोले कि सीट पे उनकी जो बेड सीट था जो हॉस्पिटल में, उसमें प्रभात की फोटो रखे वो नीचे सोते थे. उसके एक पास्ट टाइम्स. और एक पास्ट टाइम्स मुझे कि राधानाथ स्वामी ने बोले कि उनके पास इतना वर्क करते थे, उनके पास पहनने के लिए भी 2 जोड़ा धोती कुर्ता भी नहीं था, एक ही था, उसको भी वॉश करते रखते थे. उतनी बहुत ये हो गया था. इसलिए एक बार शॉप को गए थे, जाने के बाद उस शॉप में एक पैंट शर्ट को देखा, तो उसमें वो लेने के सोच रहे थे, वो भी पटा हुआ, वो सेकेंड हैंड वाला है, उसके भी देने के लिए पैसा उनके पास नहीं था. उनके वो जो शॉपकीपर वाला उसको भी देखा, तो लेने के लिए ये किए थे, वो कंप्लेंट कर दिया ओनर को, ऐसा कुछ हो गया बोल के. तो वो बोले कि वो एक्चुअली कंप्लेंट हो गया उसमें. उसके बाद कोर्ट को गए, कोर्ट के बुलाए, जैनन प्रभु जी को बुलाए. उसके बाद कोर्ट में दाखिल किए गए, तो पूछ रहे थे कि आप क्या किए, आप बहुत साधु लग रहे, आपने क्या किए. तो बोले कि मेरे पास ऐसा टेम्पल के लिए मैं जो भी पैसा आता है मैं दे रहा हूँ, जो हमारे गुरु को दे रहा हूँ. तो मेरे पास पैसे नहीं इसको बाई करने के लिए, सेकेंड हैंड का बाई करने के लिए भी मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है, इसलिए मैंने रिक्वेस्ट करा था. इसलिए बोले कि ठीक है, आप उतना जज बोले वो उसका कितना पैसा हो मैं दे दूंगा. वो ये पास टाइम राधा स्वामी महाराज ने बोले थे. बहुत सारे ऐसे महाराज के. कृष्ण.
That same pastime, I had gone through that, so I'll just tell the details of that pastime. That's one very nice pastime. So, like Prabhuji said that Prabhuji never wore any fancy clothes. Whatever he wore, he would wash it again and again and again, and until they were all torn and worn out completely. Busy. And then the devotees had to force him to go to the mall and buy a new pair of pants. And that too, it was nothing fancy, just some normal set of trousers. And he wasn't ready to pay for that. He's like, this money can be used for Prabhupada's service. And then he stole the pants. He stole it, and then he got caught with it. And then they took him to a security room, and then they asked him what happened. Why did you steal? And then he explained everything. I am trying to save all my money for my spiritual master service here in this service of building a temple. And even though I have money, I cannot be, even though we're collecting a little bit, I cannot use that money for my own service. I have to give it to my spiritual master. And then they were so moved that they were moved to tears, and then they told him, okay, you take the pants and you go. So that's what happened. And about Prabhuji, you mentioned that how friendly they were. So even the drunks and all the people, whenever the temple needed a service and they would go out to call, they need any service from the people outside, they just have to mention, they would ask, is Jayanand there? And then yeah, and then they would come for service to the temple. And about using getting accessories from around the city. People just by watching Jayanand Prabhuji work so hard in the Ratha, he would spend his entire day and night on the Ratha. He would be on top working on the Ratha, and the night he would sleeping on the Ratha. It would be like that, Prabhuji. The whole time he would spend with the Ratha, that people who were watching, like neighbors, when they were watching all this across the window, they would see this happening. And then they would be so moved that they would also help out to the Ratha work. So they would see how much Jayanand Prabhu struggled to build that Ratha. And I think we were in Vrindavan for the appearance day of, I told you, right, Prabhuji? There was Jayanand Prabhuji's small figurine in, behind Srila Prabhupada's this thing. Behind, I showed you, right, Prabhuji? A small figurine of Jayanand Thakur wearing the jacket behind the in the middle. Huh? So that was the same day. That was one.
On the left hand side, back side of Prabhupada, the wall is there in the
Yeah.
Samadhi Mandir. So on the left hand side,
Jagannath.
one mural, and the right hand side. On the right hand side, the Ratha.
And then Jayanand Prabhuji is there right in front with that yellow famous jacket that he is known for. And Prabhuji was the one. No, it's permanently there.
Permanent, this one. That golden color engraving. The mural.
So in front, it's Jagannath is led by Jayanand Prabhuji. And like that was just one day after Jayanand Prabhuji's appearance day when we went there. We were in Vrindavan that time for Prabhuji's appearance day. And it's there in Rajapur. I told that. So there is written Jayanand Thakur, the first monk of ISKCON. First saint of ISKCON. And he's the one who Prabhupada said Jayanand has gone back to Godhead after his departure. So very glorious personality. There's so many stories. Like Prabhupada said, Rana Swami Maharaj has given so many lectures on Jayanand Prabhuji's pastimes. There's a lot more. I don't remember long back. But this was a very nice thing. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.